I'll nominate Jeremy.
Okay, second call for nominations. And third call for nominations. Jeremy, do you accept the position?
I accept.
Okay, you are appointed as vice chair, thank you. Okay, so I understand we have one item to add to the agenda.
We do. It'll be item 6.10, and it'll be a verbal update on the area vicinity protection plan.
Good, okay, thank you. Okay, so seeing any other additions from anybody else? Seeing none, could I ask for a motion to accept the agenda by Curtis? You want to just make that motion? Please?
Sure, I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as submitted.
Did you say as submitted?
Yeah.
It should be as amended.
As amended, sorry.
Friendly amendment. Call question, all in favor? And that's carried, thank you. And anybody see anything out of order in the minutes? If not, could I get a motion to accept as presented? Going once.
Wait, is not what we just motioned for?
We just did the agenda. So we're doing the
Oh,
minutes
adoption
now.
of minutes, okay.
Jeremy,
I'll motion to adopt the airport advisory August 16th, 2022 minutes as presented.
all in favor? And that's carried. So our quorum is 4, so that motion will stand. Okay, 6.1, terms of reference. Turn this over to Andre, but the terms of reference have changed, so we just need to adopt them, is that correct?
No, through the chair, the terms of reference are the same as last year. However, we have 2 new members, so we just wanted to review the terms of reference.
Okay, and are you gonna run us through that then?
I will.
Okay.
Terms of reference as laid out for bylaw 592-22, section 7.1. Committee's purpose is to provide input on revisions to the airport master plan, airport zone lands for aerospace or any other aviation-related complementary commercial ventures that is consistent with the airport master plan, economic development and marketing at the airport, recommend revenue-generating ventures to council, air transportation services for Woodlands County and region, and any other matters referred by council. And recommendations are made by the committee for council's review and acceptance.
Sure. So Mike, I know you're new to the committee. Did you get a chance to go through? Do you have any questions with the TOR?
No, I didn't have a chance to read through, but I will. But yeah, I'm sure I can get up to speed in this meeting. So, yeah.
Okay. Pretty business as usual. Go ahead.
We've also attached a copy of the bylaw for committee members to review.
Sure. You can do that at your leisure. I don't think we need to go through the bylaw. Unless anybody has any questions about the bylaw. So then we're looking for a motion to accept the terms of reference
As information.
as information. Okay. I can ask for that motion, please.
A motion that the AAC accepts the RFD as information.
Any questions to the motion? All in favor? And that's carried. Thanks. All right, item 6.2, we have summary of movements for 2022. So I need to have a look at, Bob, somebody help me out and make sure that we're recording his vote. So we have a summary of movements for 2022, and again, I'll turn that over to administration.
Okay, through the chair to the members. Back in 2022, I've listed here what we've had for total movements. For 2022, we had 17,695 total movements, which was up getting close to 1,000 better than we did in 2021, and over almost 4,000 more than we did in 2020. It showed that for 2022, Alberta Fire wasn't as busy as they were the previous year. So it just kind of gives us a trend and shows that other parts of the industry and civil aviation is actually getting busier at the airport to make up for the stuff. And we're definitely getting our numbers up higher than when we had the slowdown due to COVID, which our numbers were still fairly high compared to a lot of other airports that were the same size as ours.
Question?
I got a couple questions. One, what constitutes a movement at the airport, for my reference?
So the movements are categorized in three different ways. It's arrival departures, that's considered, I think, just one movement. Local is, for instance, if a helicopter were to pick up and reposition, that would be considered as a movement. And when they're doing their practice, like for the schools, so when they're doing their circuits, a circuit would be, say, like a movement.
So if aircraft arrives, it does not count it as a movement until it departs?
It's I think it actually, no, it's counted both ways. It's counted as an arrival as a movement and departure as a movement.
Okay. And then second question, is it possible to get a breakdown of what each of those movements are, just so we can see the trend, like over year? What, obviously you said that Alberta Fire has decreased in 2022, but where was the increase? Was there a significant increase in one type of thing, like more training or more commercial movements, or that? Okay. For a little bit more information?
Can try to get you some breakdown of more information. I get a summary monthly on movements, whether they're arrivals, departures, overflights, which are when a plane comes into our control zone.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's listed. And then for local, which is if they're just kind of moving from one place to the next or whatnot. And a local would also entail a circuit as long as they remain inside the 5 mile control zone. If they leave, then that's when it goes to a departure.
I only ask because I think, we're seeing a 3,000 movement increase, almost 4,000 movement increase in the last 3 years. It'd be handy probably for the council or the committee to understand what that 4,000 increase was. Like if it wasn't with Alberta Fire,
12 PDFs.
where did it come from?
12 PDFs to go through and decipher.
What is, are you satisfied with your?
Yep.
I'll
I
turn
think
it
you
over to
understand
Chris,
what I want.
and then Bruce.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just to notice the difference between helicopter and fixed wings, departures and arrivals. Because it kind of tell you where you might invest your money.
Mhm.
If you're starting to see a bigger trend into fixed wings, maybe you need to start looking at asphalting the runway and stuff like that, I guess.
I have the ability to be able to decipher between those.
Okay.
For me, it's just knowing the aircraft types and pulling it, separating it and sorting it that way.
I think that's all he's looking
Yeah,
for. is-
I can break it down and give you a fairly decent idea of what sort of aircraft that are operating out there and how many and type idea. Yeah, it'll take me a little bit, but I can work through it.
No problem. I'm a big numbers guy, and it really helps
I know.
for decision making.
I can break that down pretty good.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. Bruce?
Through the chair to Steve. With the rotary wing, if a helicopter takes off on their own land, is that classified as a movement? Or is it just on the runway area?
If they were repositioned on his own property, it's not a movement, that my understanding. But I could be wrong. I can talk to the guys with NavCan and find out what they list. Because a lot of the times for them is when you take off, it's whether or not they add it to their board to watch. So a lot of the times if they were to just reposition, say, from the grass to their concrete pad, they're only going up 2 or 3 feet, so then that's not an possible obstruction. So then that wouldn't be kind of noted. But if they were, say, at the far end at Hellosource and they were repositioning to the forestry base, that would be noted because they are a possible obstruction.
Any other questions? Seeing no other questions, could I ask for a motion to accept the summary of movements as input? Councilor Prestige.
I'll make a motion that the Airport Advisory Committee accepts the RFD as information.
All in favor? And that's carried, thank you. We'll move on to 6.3, summary of 2022 landing fees, and turn this back to Steve, I believe.
Through the chair to the members. As previously discussed with the diversity of traffic, we've also seen a fairly increase in landing fees as well. So for 2022, it was 28,993.20 cents, and the year before it was 17,272.27 cents. So with the difference or diversity in traffic, we've also picked up a lot of stuff that we've been able to charge for.
Sure.
And then I've also included just a summary of what our landing fees are. 2,500 kg to 5,000, it's $4 per thousand. The 5,000 to 21 is $4.75 per thousand. 21 to 45 is $5.50. And the 45,000 plus kg is $6.25.
Councilor Will.
Chair to admit, when was the last time we did a review on our fees?
Before I've been involved with it. So it's,
5 years?
3 years ago.
3 years?
Through the chair.
that's when we brought it in, right?
Yep.
So we recognize Andre, is that, you were just gonna add that comment?
Yes, through the chair 3 years ago.
Sure, okay.
Thank you.
And I guess just on behalf of the committee, I'd kind of reiterate what Jeremy's saying, that, you know, I've got a significant increase there, and it'd be nice to see where that increase is coming, you know, what size of traffic it is, and any other questions for admin on the landing fees? If I could get a motion to accept as info. Councilor Wilhelm?
I'll motion that the AAC accepts the RFD as information.
Motion on the floor, all in favor? And that's good, thanks. All right, brings us to 6.4, status of taxiway redesignation. Is this Steve or is this Andre? Steve?
So, back in 2022, with the recommendation from the AAC, Woodlands County Council approved the recommendation to take Apron 3 to break it up into a series of taxiways. We've reached out to HMRO. They designed everything for the type of signs and the locations of the signs. We received the quotes, or I went out and I got quotes. Syringe signs was selected. I have the signs at the airport, and the flangeable bases for those signs are on order. They should be here next month. And the locations have already been laid out, and come spring, then I can get these signs put in place. I've reached out to HMRO, and they've helped me rewrite our airport operations manual. So once I get the signs located in place, I will send, or at the same time, I'll be sending our airport operations manual off to Transport Canada for their approval. And then we'll be officially running off of that new airport operations manual.
Any questions for Steve? Andre?
Through the chair to the committee, I'd just like to add the 2023 budget included engineering fees for the redesign of the taxiways. So we are preparing a request for proposals from engineering companies to start that process, so that by the end of this year, we will have a design laid out that we can go out for bids to redo those taxiways. There are grants available that I think the application closes March of each year. November of each year. So we would be proposing that we apply for grants this year to do that reconstruction.
So the reconstruction would actually take place the next construction season
Correct.
after the November?
Yes.
I'm not sure about the rest of you guys. I didn't Google this, but what does frangible mean? Frangible pole, it says.
Breakaway.
Breakaway, okay. Thanks. Any other questions for admin? Seeing none, could I get a motion to accept this as info, please? Thanks, Mike. So the protocol is that you read out the recommendation. So under recommendation, you move that the Airport Advisory Committee.
Okay, I'll move that the Airport Advisory Committee accepts the RFD as information.
Thank you. Motion on the floor, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, just clipping right along here. 6.5, update on land leasing at CYZU. Turn it back to administration.
Through the chair to the members, since we've changed the pricing for our leasing, we've added 2 additional leases that have been signed, and the second one was actually signed today. We've also had a number of serious inquiries with regards to the frontage that the area in front of between the taxiways and their property, about leasing that property. And we've also had a couple other pieces of land that people are expressing some serious interest in that they are looking at leasing here in the very near future.
Okay, go ahead, Councilor Wilhelm.
I'm not sure if you're allowed to divulge it in committee, but what are the lengths of the leases that were recently signed? Is that, can you say that?
Through the chair to Councillor Wilhelm, our standard lease is 20 years,
Oh, okay.
renewable every 5 years, but when we negotiate, that can be whichever length is negotiated.
Go ahead, Curtis.
Through the chair, are they rotary or fixed wing companies?
Both.
Oh,
So I don't know about the rest of you, is a 20-year lease, is that standard across the aviation industry? Go ahead, Andre.
Through the chair, if we have somebody who wants to lease land and build a structure, typically the leases are longer period, but if it's just to use the land, typically we go 20 years.
Okay.
And they're renewable every 5 years.
So by renewable, if they wanted to end their lease, there's a clause within the contract that allows them to end their lease
Correct.
as well. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for administration? Seeing none, if we get a motion to accept that RFD as information. Councilor Prestige.
I'll make a motion that the Airport Advisory Committee accept the RFD as information.
Motion on the floor, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. Keep forgetting about Rob. Okay, logging revenue. Item 6.6, once again, we'll turn it back to admin.
Through the chair to the members, back in 2022, we did some logging on the outside of the airport. And that's all been completed, everything that they could get. The total revenue for the sale of logs was $170,829.18. Since receiving that revenue, we've had a contractor come in and do some spraying on some of the regrowth of the saplings and small trees on the inside of the fence. We've tried using our own tractor and breaker disc on the front with limited success. And in this upcoming year, we'll be looking at seeking a contractor to utilize land breaking equipment.
Councilor Prestige.
Through the chair to admin. When we logged it off and then we did the cleanup, did we pull the stumps out, or, so the stumps are all out?
Yeah.
I would estimate, through the chair, I would estimate 98% of the stumps are out.
Okay, so you just need a big breaking disc to do it.
Right.
Councillor Wilhelm.
Through the chair to admin, what was the initial expected revenue? I can't remember. 100?
Through the chair, we initially estimated approximately 100,000. We expect, 130,000 is what we identified, but we expected 160, and we got 170.
Right on.
And then the expectation is that the majority of those funds are gonna be used to break it.
Correct.
And then at that point, that land would then go out for a hay lease?
That's correct. It'll be broken. We've been in touch to get biosolids delivered, and then that would be turned into the fields. It'll be seeded, take approximately 2 years to establish, and then it would go out as a hay lease.
Thanks. Curtis?
Through the chair, why don't we look at flattening it out and sell the lots off as hangars? Instead of hay leases, you make more money off airplane hangars, you do hay in it. You could move all the privates to that side and leave your lease on the other side. All you'd have to build is a taxiway.
You want to answer that?
Through the chair to Curtis. That it's something definitely that we can look into. The whole idea of it is to get the land to a point where
Sure.
it's usable,
Absolutely.
and anything that that comes up is we can look at anything. It's just getting it under control is our first priority.
Bruce?
Through the chair to admin. I'm not sure if Curtis, or if you're standing on the highway looking at the runway to the right,
Where you logged everything.
okay, that is not getting, that's just getting left for reforestation.
So you just talked about haying it.
That's on the left
Oh, on
side of
the left side. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
in the
sorry.
fence
Okay,
area.
sorry. We went from the log side to the other side, sorry. I missed when it converted.
I think, just that brief conversation between admin and yourself, it tells me that I would like this committee to have another look at the airport master plan and just see where we are today and start to work on perhaps revising that master plan and giving administration some ideas and direction. Go ahead.
I would really like to see us try and put some land aside for sale.
Mhm.
Like, I've heard people on this board say that it's not a good idea because they lose control of the land when that happens. But the building would be at an airport that is controlled federally. They mandate what you can and cannot do. You have to submit all your submissions to NAV Canada as to what you want to do. So,
Yeah.
and right now, the only drive that I see at this committee, other than what's happened today, is commercial. And there's a lot of fixed wing guys out there, there's a lot of rotor wing guys out there that want to have their own place. And there's nothing around here to do that.
Well,
There's
and
3 private hangars out at the airport that I know of. Unless I've got
that
that
are
wrong.
owned and not leased.
4? There's 4 private hangars out at that airport for a community of over 10,000.
Yeah, and what I can say, not to get into a history lesson, but I know that when that master plan was developed 12 years ago, 15 years ago, then the number one thing that people are coming out of that plan, the ask coming out of that plan, was for the ability to purchase lots. And that direction changed, but that doesn't mean it can't change again, so.
So just to reiterate on that, so there was actually houses being proposed out there with attached hangars. Out of all the processes of that master plan, that's the very last one. So I don't know when we were gonna hit that.
Yeah, well, I think what we need to do as a committee is, try and find some time to have a look at that and have that master plan sent back out and perhaps do a little bit of a strategic planning session with the eye of either, accepting the master plan again or accepting it with proposed revisions.
Sure.
Won't happen today, obviously, but Bruce?
Through the chair to Curtis. The plan kind of changed, I'm gonna say about 8 years ago, to not sell lots, to lease lots only, which I personally think was a bad move. But to me, we should definitely look at selling lots again. Because not everybody wants to lease. Not saying leasing is a bad thing, but I know myself, I wouldn't lease anything,
No.
I would purchase it.
So, and just to reply, I really don't know how you can go to the bank and ask for a loan to build something if you don't actually own the lot.
We actually checked in that, and on a commercial side, the banks are okay with it.
Yeah, on the commercial side.
Yeah, so private, I don't know.
Mhm.
But I really think we, as a committee, we should be looking at that.
And I see head nodding around the table, but again, I think honestly, guys, that this is probably the third time this has come up
Yep.
at this committee. I would like to see us ask administration to find time that we can just dedicate a meeting to reviewing that master plan and potentially revising it. So that can maybe, we didn't add that to the agenda, but if there's consensus, within this agenda item, we could, if there's an appetite, I could ask for a motion to task administration to send out the master plan and find a time for the committee to meet and review the master plan.
I'll make that motion.
Okay? You might have,
Exactly what you said.
did you get that, Wilma?
That the AAC have the master plan brought back to the table and looked at another time.
Yeah, in the form of a strategic planning session, if you will, or just an airport master plan planning session. So separate from this meeting.
A separate meeting on its own.
Is that what everybody's?
Yeah.
Okay. Andre?
Through the chair of the committee, do you want to set a date now for that?
We could, yeah. First, we've got so then we could add the date into the motion, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Sure. Going into February, we weren't likely to have an AAC meeting in February, right?
No.
Maybe, I always find it kind of unproductive to try and find a time. Could we ask Wilma to send out like a doodle poll with some dates and we could get back?
So just for a rough idea, looking at early March or April?
We were planning to have one in March, you think?
We were probably planning in April, but March, April. We typically have 4 a year.
Right.
I would say, yeah, that our RMA is in late March, right?
Yes.
Late February, we could try that.
Maybe late February might,
In March, I'm good from the 6th to the 9th.
March 6th works for me. How does that work for everybody else?
Sure.
I'm good.
Okay. Jeremy, you'd prefer it in the evening, I'm guessing? Like 4:30 range?
Yeah, I got a tentative project going on that week, but it's only tentative right now.
Okay, so could we include March 6th at 4:30 to your motion?
Sounds good.
Okay. Wilma, can I ask you to read that back, please?
Oh,
It's a hand up.
Rob's got his hand up.
Okay, we'll recognize Rob. Sorry, Rob. Go ahead.
Hello, sorry about that. I had a question.
I'll have to turn the
in regards
volume up.
to-
Sorry, Rob, we can't hear you. One sec.
Can we turn the volume up?
It is up all the way.
I'll have to speak louder.
Yeah, we can barely hear you, Rob.
I can't do anything on my end, I'm sorry.
Can you hear him, Jeremy?
Barely.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Try again, Rob.
Can you hear me now? How's that? Is that test one, test two,
That's not
Nope,
good.
that's feedback. No.
test five,
Son of a.
test six, test seven, test eight, test nine?
You can kind of hear him out of the booth.
Would it be okay to type my question?
There we are. We can hear you now.
Oh, you can hear me now?
We can hear you now, Rob.
Oh,
Ask
thank
again.
you. Sorry about that. I was trying to get the chair's attention in regards to selling property in regards to the airport master plan. My question is twofold. Number one is, of the land that is already sold at the airport, how many actually have buildings or structures on them?
So,
And
Rob,
the and the second would
just
be,
a second, I have
if
to
we-
interrupt you, Rob. We have a
Go ahead.
motion on the table. So, is your question in relation to the motion?
it was prior to the motion, I apologize.
Okay, well, you know what? Go, fire away.
Well, again, it's going back to the airport master plan and reconsidering selling property versus leasing. In regards to the fact that we already have sold property at the airport, I think the committee should be aware that some of those sold properties do not have buildings on them. And I would suggest that some of that property has been purchased on speculation. So we have to be very cautious of selling property and not having a caveat saying that an airport structure has to be built within 2 years.
That's perfect.
We could see this property flipped and not come to a benefit of the community through the airport. And I'll leave it there and we'll carry on with the next, with the, it's on the table. I apologize for that interruption.
Yeah, no problem. That's my bad. I'm not paying attention that your hand was up, so sorry about that. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor as soon as Wilma reads it to us.
So Bruce Prestiger made a motion to bring the master plan to a separate meeting to have a strategic plan for the master plan.
Okay, and so,
And the date would be March 6th at 4:30 PM.
everybody understand the motion?
Yep.
Okay, motion on the floor, all in favor? And that's good, thanks. Thanks for that, Rob. Okay, so we probably need to accept the logging revenue RFD as information as well. Go ahead, Curtis.
I'll put a motion forward that the Airport Advisory Committee accepts the RFD as information.
Okay, motion on the floor, all in favor? And that's carried, thank you. Okay, good, that, it's kind of been a year in the making, but I look forward to that exercise of going through that master plan. I think it'll be very, very beneficial for the committee members and hopefully then provide some direction to not only administration, but the rest of council as well. Chris?
Just a question to the chair for that meeting, would that be an open meeting where people could come and watch and maybe speak to the meeting, or just?
No, it wouldn't be an open house where the public would be invited
Okay.
to add comments, but all the meetings are public.
Okay.
You know, and I guess it's at the discretion of the committee if we want to accept some information, but that's the protocol. Jeremy?
I think what we should do with regards to that is start with a meeting where we review the master plan ourselves and become comfortable with it.
Okay.
And then we can look at having potentially an open house around
It's a good idea.
engaging with the public on it.
Okay.
Because it'd be tough to do an engagement if we're not
If we're not.
if we're not all on the same page as what we want it to be as well.
Through the chair, I'll just add, typically strategic planning meetings are closed meetings.
Okay.
Okay. Is that within, not that I'm trying to split hairs, but is that within the meeting procedures bylaw, or is that just a?
Honestly,
Don't
I'd
know. Uh,
have to look at the bylaw,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Okay.
typically they're closed.
Sure. Makes sense that they would be. Okay, we'll move on to item 6.7, CYZU promotions for 2023, and turn it back over to Steve.
Through the chair to the members, Woodlands County takes in the Airport Operators magazine, for the last couple of years, we've taken out we put an article in there that tries to display some of the highlights at our airport. In the past, we've had a half-page ad that we've put in there, and I've attached copies on the back for you guys to have a look at. The upcoming, the next edition of the magazine is upcoming, and we're looking at putting a full-page ad as well as another article, and just looking if you guys have any ideas, questions, comments that we could look at for that article. On February 8th, we will be hosting a Whitecourt and District Chamber of Commerce, one of their monthly meetings at the airport. Every member is welcome to join. I believe you need to register to join. And we will also be visiting all the local businesses and people at the airport, sending them all an invitation to join as well. And then lastly, for promotions, in May, there's another site selection conference. And our Economic Development Officer, Bert Roach, will be attending that conference as a delegate for CYZU.
Just had a question about the chamber meeting. Is the meeting held somewhere within the town and then the delegates are coming out for a tour?
Through the chair. No, the actual meeting and everything will actually be at the airport. We're taking all our equipment out of the shop, and we will be setting up chairs and everything that they need actually in our shop. And then after the shop, or after their dinner, then we're gonna rent a bus, and anybody who wants to do a tour of the airport and airside and whatnot, we will be taking them on a tour.
Similar to the tour that the committee went on in the fall?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for administration? So you're asking committee if we have any suggestions on what you could include?
If you have any suggestions on stuff that we should include to the magazine or to the ad, I'm welcome to hear any of them.
What's your deadline?
February 3rd,
February
next
3rd?
week.
Yeah, to submit it.
Okay. Before I turn it over to Curtis, I just I encourage anybody, if something comes to mind you think that's worthwhile before that deadline, send it Steve's way. Go ahead, Curtis.
To the chair. I know a big highlight for a lot of private or commercial operators is a courtesy card. And I don't know, because you're going to the chamber, maybe it's something that can be, it sucks because it's like a little taxi that everybody uses, but I know that anytime I used it, I filled it up when I was done. It's hard to keep track of, though, is the only thing. But it especially where this airport is located in relationship to town, sometimes it's hard to get a taxi out there. We actually, Andy, we were just out there on the weekend, and Andy ended up taking a guy to town because he couldn't get a cab. So
And so what's your suggestion, sorry?
I'm just saying that if they were looking at doing something different at the airport that they could highlight, and you can even put it in the flights up, is that there's a courtesy card. And that really attracts a lot of people. That they can run to town, grab a bite to eat, do whatever, go spend the night at a hotel. And like, that might be a really good ask to the chamber.
That courtesy card exists now?
Say again?
That courtesy card does not exist right now?
No, there's nothing out there.
What did you say that every time you used it, you filled it up?
When I fly to an airport
Uh-huh.
and land,
Yeah,
if I use the courtesy card that's there,
right.
it's courtesy to fill it up before you take it home.
Sure.
Take it back.
Okay. Yeah, I know
It's
that.
a big ask. It's just, if they're going to the meeting, that's actually not a bad place to present it.
Mhm.
Because it would be the local chamber that would benefit from something like that.
Yeah, good point. Okay, go ahead, Andre.
Through the chair and to the committee, it just popped in my head. I did forget to add something to the agenda, but I'm gonna use this topic to bring it up. Last year, Woodlands County, in conjunction with the town of Wakeworth, submitted a proposal to host the 2023 COPA National Fly-In. COPA changed their, or they did not approve anybody. They are still reviewing their process on how they are gonna proceed in the future, so we have not heard anything from COPA, so that's just off to the side for now until we hear something.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions related to promotions for administration? If I could get a motion to accept as info. Go ahead, Jeremy.
A motion that the AAC accepts the RFD as information.
Okay, motion on the floor, all in favor? And that's carried, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to tax revenue generated from airport properties. And once again, turn it back over to administration.
Mr. Chairman, committee members, a request was made that administration investigate and report back on property tax revenue generated by the airport. In total, the revenue for taxes from the airport properties is just under 70,000 a year. And recommendation is that the ACC accepts the RFD as information.
Any questions for admin? Go ahead, Bruce.
Through the chair to admin. Now, this tax revenue, when you lease the property, do you still pay taxes on top of the lease?
Through the chair to Councillor Pressage, yes. Mr. Chairman, there's a question on the,
Thank you. Go ahead, Rob. Your mic is muted, I believe.
Yeah, I've raised my hand in regards to accepting the other motion. Sorry.
Okay.
Probably Jesse just speaks out instead of.
Yeah, yeah. Did you hear that, Rob?
Okay, I'll do that from now on. Thank you.
Okay. All right, any other questions in regards to the taxation total? Seeing none, could I get a motion to accept as info, please? Go ahead, Bruce.
Make a motion that the AAC accept the RFD as information.
Motion on the floor, all in favor? And that's carried, thanks.
Aye.
Thanks, Rob. Okay, item 6.9, 2023 priorities at the airport. And we'll turn it once again back over to Steve.
Mr. Chairman, committee members, administration put together our list of priorities that we've identified. These are in no particular order of priority. However, the fuel card lock 24/7, an RFP will be let out. We have had a couple inquiries, so there is some interest. Complete the taxiway reconfiguration. As Steve mentioned, the flanges will be here soon. Signs are here. Late spring we'll do the installation. The engineering services for the upgrading design of taxiway EF, that engineering RFP will be let out. Conduct formal review of the benefits, determine of CYZU remaining a certified airport or becoming a registered aerodrome. We have somebody reviewing that. Complete the breaking seeding of the logged lands within the fenced airport property as identified within the 2020 Airport Master Plan. Review ownership options for CYZU, possibility of applying it for a grant to fund feasibility studies. There has been some preliminary discussions with other municipalities that have shown an interest. So we will be reaching out to other possible partners. Pursue development of an airport website, other promotional opportunities. At the next Airport Advisory Committee, we will be bringing a proposal forward for additional revenue on one item. We're still trying to iron that out. And those are our priorities. However, when we have the March airport master plan review, that may change.
Sure. Yeah, okay. Any questions to admin on these priorities? Go ahead.
On point number 6, as identified, the 20-year review of ownership options. That means looking at, you said, other municipalities taking ownership in our airport, or
Through the chair, Councilor William, yes. It may mean forming an airport commission that other municipalities are involved in. It may mean, I'll just toss out, let's say Merithorpe or Lac Saint Anne is interested. It may be one entity looking after both airports, or Fox Creek wants to become involved, 3 airports. So any number of possibilities.
and you've had preliminary discussions with these municipalities already?
Not those 2, but we have with 2 others.
And I just come back, a couple items. So this was identified in the 2020 Airport Master Plan?
That's correct,
Okay. And so obviously that's the most current one.
yes.
And that, you're gonna send that out ahead of that strat plan so we can review that?
Yes.
Okay. I wanna come back to the first item, the Cardlock Fuel Services. Again, that was identified in the original master plan that came out in 2011 or 2012. 2012, thanks. So, you know, that be Cardlock Fuel and buying land, so having the county develop lots for sale, those were the 2 high priority items for the committee at the time. And at that point, I wanna say there was probably 6 additional members on the Airport Advisory Committee when it was originally struck. It had more industry representatives and more representatives from the airport operators. And they were the ones that said, we want fuel and we want to buy land. So I don't mean to keep beating a dead horse, but it's nice to see that an RFP is finally gonna go out to market to look at Cardlock Fuel Services. So any other questions for admin on priority list? So we look forward to seeing that along with the 2020 master plan, and I look forward to that meeting on the 6th. So need a motion to approve the list? Oh, sorry. You had a
I'll
question?
just add, since we're talking about the airport master plan. So the 2020 is, the 2020 amended airport master plan includes the original 2012 airport master plan as an attachment. So you'll be able to see both of them there.
Sure.
And maybe after we do the motion, we could, I could ask who wants hard copies or just emailed copies, and we can make that happen ahead of time.
Okay. And we can do that before the motions. Who would like to see a hard copy of the?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think I will.
I'm good with electronic.
Digital's good for me.
Digital's fine with me.
Paper copy for me, please.
So we got 4. Mike, you said you wanted one as well?
Digital's fine.
The digital's fine,
Yep.
okay, so. How big's the document? It's like 20 pages or something like that?
This is it.
That's the amendment.
Okay,
This is the amended with the original attached.
okay. You know what, count me in as a paper guy as well. But I would like a digital copy in addition to that. Yeah. Okay, so I guess third call. If there's no other questions for admin on this item, I'd ask for a motion to accept as info. Curtis?
Make a motion that the AAC approve the list the 2023 priorities for CYZU as presented, amended.
Motion on the floor, all in favor? And that's
Aye.
carried. Thanks, Rob. That's carried. So next meeting, I think it's generally the call of the chair anyway, and we'll discuss that during our master plan discussion. Go ahead, Andre.
Sorry, I might have misheard what you said there.
I said, next meeting is generally at the call of the chair.
Oh. Then I will put my hand up.
Okay.
There is one more
It's
item.
6.10.
610.
Oh, right.
Addition to the
Forgot that
agenda.
one. Sorry about that. Okay. So that's area vicinity protection plan?
Airport Vicinity Protection Plan.
Okay, so we'll turn that over. Everybody here knows what that is?
So the airport vicinity protection plan is a plan that we have to prepare that protects the approaches to the airport so that whoever can build a 100-foot tower at the end of the runway. And we have contracted HM Aero, who's done a number of studies for us. They will be here the week of the 7th, I think, doing their preliminary investigations, gathering information. They will probably be, as part of that, having open houses and having discussions with property owners, NAVCAN, Woodlands County, to gather all the information. That project is being led by our planning and development division within Woodlands County.
Okay. Does everybody understand what that's all about? That makes sense now?
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Andre?
That's it.
Okay, if there's no questions for Andre, I'd ask for a motion to accept that verbal report as info. Curtis?
Make a motion to accept the verbal report as information.
Okay. Okay, do we want to include verbal report on airport vicinity protection plan?
Sure.
Okay.
I couldn't remember it, so.
Yeah, I didn't write it down, so. Okay, motion on the floor, everybody understands the motion? Okay, call a question, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Rob. Okay, so yeah, we'll get together on March 6th, and after that, we'll probably have an idea of when we want to meet again. Question, Jeremy?
Nope, I will motion to adjourn.
Paul?
Just,
Yeah, speak to the motion to adjourn. Go ahead.
we have two guests here. Maybe we should see who they are.
If they'd like to identify themselves.
I'm Travis Mazzara. I'm the general manager at Airborne Energy Solutions.
And
Travis?
Ron Rudd with Airborne Energy Solutions as well.
Welcome, Ron.
Nice to meet
Thanks,
you.
Bruce. Okay, we have a motion to adjourn the meeting on the floor. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, Wilma.
The master plan meeting, if it is closed over or
I
that one won't be strategic planning though, right? It's just a review?
For
The March meeting we're talking about? It's just gonna be a review, we're not gonna actually do strategic planning that day?
that'll be up to the committee what the committee wants to do.
That review may generate some questions and suggestions that could be considered.
Public engagement, especially with our ratepayers, airport.
I agree. I agree. A 2-year your earlier point,
Yeah.
we need to get on the same page. I don't want to know what page.
They can't ask.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I read it
We'll
when I
talk
first
about
came
it
on the
tomorrow.
committee, and I don't know where the hell we're at at all. Doesn't feel like.
Frankie wanted a digital copy.
Yeah, I did a copy.
We'll figure it out when we
Just email it to me.
Okay.
Be great.
That's the marking. You ready, right?
Say for instance.
I don't know if minutes, but I'll do it.
Whatever you think. Yeah, but I've already took a chance. So say if Ridge Orders.
But that's what you need.